Hi, a huge welcome to Steve's Kitchen. If you've been with the channel a while, you know I've done a lot of ice creams, hokey pokey, cookies and cream, red velvet even. And I try to make them sometimes with the machine and sometimes without, because I know a lot of people haven't got the machine at home. Well, today's a real winner. It's a no machine. It's white chocolate and raspberry. It's delicious. Let me show you how. Now just quickly, we're going to make a custard with this one. It's a little bit lighter than the way I normally make it, but it makes great results. Now you could buy a vanilla pudding ready-made, but it isn't difficult to make. Stick with me and I'll show you how. So firstly, we just get 1 cup of full cream milk into a saucepan, pop that onto the stove and bring it up to a boil. Now whilst that's coming up to the boil, we've just got 3 egg yolks in a bowl. I'm putting 3.5 tablespoons of white sugar in with that. 1 tablespoon of regular all-purpose flour and half a tablespoon of corn flour. Now we'll just take a whisk and I want you to beat this until it's a lovely creamy and slightly lighter texture. I'm just going to add half a teaspoon of vanilla extract in there, which I'll just eyeball. And don't be shy on the beating of this. We really want to beat this up nice and light. And now our milk has just come up to the boil. What we need to do is put the smallest splash of milk in with that egg, not too much, and then vigorously beat that up. And that's just tempering our egg yolks. Now let's pour the rest of the milk in there and just continue to whisk it for about 10 or 15 seconds. So return that vanilla custard back into the saucepan. We'll take this back over to the stove. Now what we want to do is bring this back up to heat, but I want to whisk continually so we don't get any lumps in it. Right into the corners, just whisk away, and eventually it's going to thicken quite considerably. So there you have it. Within a few seconds we've got this lovely thick creme patissiere or a vanilla custard. Now we just want to take that custard, pop it into another container, and here's an old custard trick. Take a little bit of sugar now and just sprinkle it over the surface, and that will stop a skin from forming. Pop that in the fridge and let it cool down. Now I've got about 300 ml or half a pint of a nice thick whipping cream. I'm just going to pop that into a bowl. Then we're just going to whip this up until it's nice and stiff. So that's what we're looking for, a nice thick cream like that, which is going to introduce some air bubbles into our ice cream. So we've got our whipped cream and we've got our chilled custard here. I'm just going to combine them together in the bowl. And then gently we're going to mix these two together. Try not to knock all the air out of the cream. Now don't over mix this. We're going to pop this in the freezer for an hour now, just so it starts to set. So set yourself a timer and be back in an hour. Okay, my ice cream is almost ready to come out of the freezer. Now I've taken a pound cake or a sponge cake like this, and I've just cut it in half, taken the brown off, and I've come up with these little cube bits of sponge cake here. Now they're going to add a lovely flavour to the ice cream, but also some volume in there and make it easier to scoop. I'm using 1 cup of frozen raspberries. Of course you can use fresh raspberries, and 1 cup of white chocolate chips. So there's the ice cream out of the freezer. It's still fairly soft at the moment. I'm going to pop those raspberries straight into there and the white chocolate. And I'm going to take my spatula and I'm going to scrape it away from the side of the bowl. It has started to crystallize a little bit. We're just going to fold that in. And then we're going to take these sponge cake cubes and just pop them in there. And as I say, this is going to add volume. It's also going to add flavor and make our ice cream a little bit lighter. And we're just going to start to fold that in. And now I'm going to take that ice cream and put it into a container. And ideally you want something with a sealable lid so you can pop that back in the freezer and let it completely set. Now whilst the ice cream is setting in the freezer, I'm going to make a quick raspberry pouring sauce. I've got that raspberry jam I made on my channel just the other day. And I open that up and I'm going to pop 3 tablespoons of raspberry jam into a saucepan. And just a tablespoon or a tablespoon and a half of water. I'm just going to reheat that on the stove so we get it to a consistency that would be nice for a pouring sauce. Now, much as it pains me to do so, yeah, right, I'm going to have some of this raspberry and white chocolate ice cream now. Now come down here. I've taken a scoop out already so you can see just how beautiful the raspberries look like in there. I've got myself a glass. I'll pop some of my raspberry sauce in there. I've got a warm scoop here and I'm just going to go in and get myself some of this ice cream. Now it is a little bit crumbly and that's because of the cake that's in there, but that won't detract from how good this is going to taste. I'm going to pop a couple of raspberries on the top, take a little bit more of that raspberry sauce, just come in close and just see that. We'll pop that over the top. And now it's time for me to give this a try. Now you know what I'm going to say, this is delicious. This is a fantastic ice cream to make at home if you haven't got an ice cream machine. I mean, there's nothing really in there not to like. Please share the love, give this one a thumbs up. I'd love to hear your comments. In the meantime, I'm going to have a little bit more. Take care. So you'll see it's very easy also to make a sauce with just a little bit of jam if you've got some in the cupboard. That tastes fantastic. I'm going to leave a link to some other videos up here. I'll probably leave a link to a playlist of all the ice creams I've made and one other video as well. Please comment down below. Love to hear from you guys. Be good. I'll see you next time.